think we're live.
Cool.
Should we check? It's kind of like a tradition. I like to check just to make sure that we're not wasting anyone's time here. Let's have a look. Yep, we're all good.
Up and running.
How's the weekend been?
Oh, it's good. Let's see how the old Necky knocked over Canterbury, and Otago, my home team's got the old Nick Shield next weekend.
Yeah,
very Inglewood. Good. I sat down there, I heard that today, and I was thinking, how the hell do I get to Inglewood next Sunday? So,
yeah. Were people expecting Canterbury to, go into like that?
Oh, that Necky side's pretty strong.
Pretty good. Yeah, they are, right? Yeah.
I mean, if you ever look at it, there was a whole lot of All Blacks on play, but I sort of saw some of the highlights. But I'm going to sit down when I get a little bit of time and actually watch a fair bit of the game, because apparently it was a cracker.
Yeah. I'm 50 on Tuesday.
Well, congratulations.
Can you believe it? Unbelievable.
You're getting when you turn 50, you get out of what we call sort of shooter's alley.
What's that?
And shooter's alley is sort of what some people call between the age of 40 to 50, when some nasty things sort of come along, and people the big C, that sort of stuff, and it just takes you out. So just someone referred to it the other day and just said to me, look, because I've turned 50 as well, and they said, oh, you'll be good as gold now to 65, 70. So whether that's don't know, but it was just an interesting reference when they sort of called it the 40 to 50 sort of bracket, shooter's alley.
I've never heard of it. Anyway, to my mates out there, if I've got any left, I think I've got a few. I had these grandiose plans of having a 50th, but those of you who actually know me know that the chances of that actually happening were always going to be pretty slim. I didn't have a 40th. I didn't have a 21st. I don't really like having parties. So this is, if you were thinking of, I could have actually, bought the old bugger a Fanta for his 50th. What I'd like you to do instead is donate to Mike King, who continues to do fantastic work for this country. And he's an amazing guy, a friend of mine for the last 25 years or something. So that's his bank account number. It was a last minute thing, so I didn't get the I Am Hope bank account number. I said, give me a bloody bank account number, Mikey, and he did. So I'll put that up throughout the show. And it doesn't need to be a lot of money. If you're thinking, I could have bought him a beer, God, what do you pay for a beer in Auckland these days? $12 or something, don't you? It's quite expensive up that way, isn't it?
Oh, I'm down in Wellington. So
yeah, well, what do you pay for a beer in Wellington? Probably $10 in a pub.
Yeah, it's still $10, and because everybody's into the fancy brews and that sort of stuff. And even look, I'll have the odd Corona on a stinking hot day in summer. But I don't drink spirits, but I like wine. So particularly Pinot Noir from Central Otago. There's a bit of a plug for where I was brought up.
Well, I've got like two friends, so if they, donate $10 each, that's $20 for Mikey. So I'll put that up later on. In the meantime, we'll keep that up there actually. In the meantime, if you want to book Mr. Bagrie, he's very popular. This guy knows more about the economy than anyone else in New Zealand, and so you basically book him, you get him along, and you pay a fee for him for the day, and it's a very reasonable fee, and that's why you should check it out at Essential Talent. So he'll come in, he'll talk to your staff, he'll actually customize something for your industry and your region, and then once you've done that, you can bring in your VIP customers and do a talk just for them. And then maybe you bring in even like a smaller sort of elite group of 5 or 6. Just it's however you want to run it the day. He's been very popular, well in demand. And as I said, the great thing is that he customizes it for what's happening in your region and your industry. So get hold of me at essentialtalent.co.nz. So let's rip into it. Tax cuts or spending increases, what do you think is more effective to stimulate the economy?
Yeah, it's been interesting to see that joust over the past week or so between the various political parties in regard to who's doing what. But look, glass half full, at least they're in broad agreement. We need to be doing a lot. Typically you get one party that sort of says, oh, we don't think we need to be helping, but there seems to be broad political agreement at the moment. Yep, we need to be doing something, and that something needs to be a lot, putting money into the economy, whether that be tax increases or tax cuts or spending increases. Look, they've both got pros and cons. So if you look at tax cuts, God, what the hell am I talking like that? Yeah, if you look at tax cuts, for example, like the economic benefit of tax cuts, apart from directly putting money into people's pockets to spend, is that it provides more of an economic incentive to get out there and work a little bit harder, because you're going to be keeping a little bit more of your own money. So it actually supports what we call the supply side of the economy. It just creates a bit of an economic incentive, because you're going to be keeping your own money. The downside to tax cuts is that people can save a portion of it, so that you don't get maximum bang for your buck. If you try to put money into people's pockets and then they act like squirrels and they sort of shove it in the bank, you can dilute that economic effect. Now, the flip side, if we look at spending, whether it be on infrastructure or on other areas, is probably a little bit more direct in regard to getting a little bit more upfront bang for your buck. But of course, there is a flip side here. And the flip side here is that, well, it's the efficiency of that spending. It's whether we see a little bit of a leakage along the way in regard to who's sort of clipping the ticket. So I guess the way I'll think about it is pretty simply, you work out, say you're going to spend $100, if you think 10%, say $10 is going to get saved, you have a look at the other side. If you were going to spend $100, how much of that $100 do you think is going to get wasted? And then sort of line them up, and that's the sort of decision tree you've got to go through in regard to which is going to be more effective.
Yeah, right. Can you explain this whole this $4 billion whole thing with the national guy, the finance guy, getting that wrong? Because from a layman like me, obviously, I get that headline and I read it briefly and I just go, man, that's pretty sloppy. That's how can you get that wrong this far out from an election? And I think to myself, would Key and English have done that? I don't know. So, but it could be just spin in the media or whatever. So I'm dying to know what your thoughts are on that, because then Judith comes out and says the Prime Minister needs to apologise. It just seems all a bit weird.
It's sort of played down. All of a sudden nowadays, $4 billion doesn't sound like that big a number, given what we're talking about in regard to.
That's true.
Puts things in perspective. But look, outside of looking in, it looks like, well, in fact, we've been told on the news tonight there was a pretty clear mistake, and I think the word was irritating, and that was used a number of times. So the political party that made the mistake, they've stood up and they've owned it. What's been interesting is that there hasn't been a mention of the organisation that QA'd, that the National Party actually paid to check off the numbers.
Yeah, that's right.
They've gone to ground. They're not answering any questions at all. So I would suspect, that invoice is probably not going to get paid on the assumption were getting paid. They were getting, they were
getting stretched out to 90 days.
Yeah, but to do the work. But just really interesting, right? You put up some numbers. You pay an external consultant to get out there and review the thing, and the external consultant missed it. So we'll see what happens in the next 48 hours.
I know they're saying irritating. To me, the word that sprung to mind was sloppy. And I just would not have. I just think the National Party with stuff like that, the party that's supposed to be know their numbers and pro business and the whole thing, it's a bad look. It's just anyway. So
I'd agree, right?
Yeah, it's just you can stuff up on a whole lot of things, but when that's your core thing of what you do, you're supposed to be the party that knows the numbers, that can look after the economy, and you have a $4 billion hole. It actually, and also the people that check it, that's fine, but at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. You've got to get it right. It's just really sloppy. How would you sum up the pre-election economic and fiscal update? Lots of debt. But what really struck you with that?
Yes, if you look at what the media reported on, look, the economy's less bad in the near term, but it's going to take us a hell of a lot longer to come out of the economic hole, and debt's going to be a bit higher, and it looks like we're going to get 15 years of fiscal deficits, so it's going to be one hell of a long slog. To me, what that combination highlighted was the importance of having one hell of an economic plan to get us back on track. There's all this talk out there at the moment about putting money into people's pockets, additional sick leave, raising the minimum wage, you name it. We're seeing, everybody's out in the campaign trail. It's sort of hard to make the numbers stack up at the moment. But what we know is that we've got a real big, tough job ahead of us in the next 15 years to restore a little bit of viability, i.e. get government debt back down. And I'll give you a heads up, my reading is that some degree of spending restraint ain't going to do it. I think we're going to have a pretty big grand plan for growth. And at the moment, across that political spectrum, I don't see too much of an appetite for a grand plan. I see an awful lot of talk, an awful lot of spin from all sides, but not an awful lot of substance. There's that old adage, Sean, never waste a crisis. Well, we're in one. 15 years of fiscal deficits being projected. I've never seen that before, right? That actually tells us we've got a fundamental problem where there's more money going out the door than what's coming in. What do we want to do? Shave the money going out the door or get more money coming in the door? Well, obviously get more money coming in the door. How do you do that? Get a bigger economy so people are paying more tax. Right? Buck stops there. I don't think it's rocket science, but it's just, I'm not quite sure that people actually got the message in regard to how significant that stuff is.
Yeah. How do you think Robertson stacks up against previous finance ministers that we've had over the last 20, 30 years? I know it's a bit of an unfair question.
I've got a lot of time for Grant. In fact, he's my local MP. Yeah. And he will get my electorate vote. He got my electorate vote last time.
Yeah. And see, this is the interesting thing. Sorry to butt in, but this whole thing with them getting this figure wrong, the $4 billion. He was quick to jump on it, and it just, to me, he just raised his status a little bit more. Like, no, this guy, he knows what's happening.
It was interesting, the pre-election economic and fiscal update. There was a sort of 2-pager that was put out of his office in regard to this is what the numbers are telling us. And I had a look at that, and I thought that was absolute spin-doctored rubbish in regard to how they tried to say what was actually going on within the numbers. But I'll give you, I actually gave the feedback to someone in the office directly. Said that 2 pages you put out was rubbish. But Grant stood up there in front of the journalist, and he was really balanced. He was actually really good in regard to what things are looking less bad in the near term. The hit to GDP is not as bad as what we originally expected, but no illusions. We've got a pretty tough journey ahead, and this is going to involve some pretty tough trade-offs. But he was really balanced in regard to how he presented that. And I had a lot of respect for that.
I agree.
The 2 pages that I sort of received, and I thought, oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think a lot of New Zealanders would share those thoughts with you. So RBNZ announcement this week. What are you expecting?
Oh, not much. The Reserve Bank, what's called the OCR announcements, are sort of they're the entree. It's the monetary policy statements that are sort of the main course that they really get stuck in. So, I don't think the economy is tracking too dissimilar to what they were expecting 6 weeks ago. From a market perspective, people are still interested in regard to how serious are they about taking the official cash rate into negative territory. I think they're going to reaffirm that, yep, it's on the table. We're moving that direction. As an economist, I step back and I just don't agree with it. I actually think it's a step too far. And what we're now starting to see across New Zealand, if I have a look at the property market, for instance, and some economists out there now saying the property market's off to the races again. Your property market off to the races at a time you've still got unemployment, your job seeker numbers sort of moving up, sort of begs the question, the gap between the haves and the have-nots. Who's really getting the economic benefit of these incredibly low interest rates? Because it's not really flowing into the real economy, but it's certainly helping out asset prices. So if you're on the property ladder, you're smiling.
Yeah, true. Moving on from that, poverty problems about to get worse.
Yeah, I think so, unfortunately. And I'm on the board of Life Education New Zealand, and we've got a strategy day coming up on Friday. So we're starting to think about some of the bigger picture challenges as well. But if I go back and have a look at the likes of the pre-election economic and fiscal update, and the pre-election economic and fiscal update, Treasury had a big spike in unemployment up to 10%. Big surge in the number of people on the job seeker benefit. But then they had it coming back down, collapsing on the other side. As we went through a real sharp hit, but then a big bounce back up the other side. So they had your job seeker benefit numbers, back at 180,000, which is lower than what they are today, by 2024. If you look at what they're saying at the moment, by 2024, their best estimate is that job seeker benefit numbers are going to be 246,000. Now, there's 200,000 people on the job seeker benefit at the moment. So what they're saying is that the numbers are going to be higher 3 to 4 years out. And we've got a real challenge here in regard to both the economic and the social side of the ledger, and you can't disconnect the two. And once again, it sort of comes back to me, it's the importance of getting the economy back up and running in a sensible fashion, because the more job destruction you get across New Zealand, the more you're going to see social problems, whether that be through poverty in regard to the kids or through crime.
Yeah, gotcha. Hey, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for your time once again. Have an epic week. Have an epic week.
No, I'm looking forward to it. Got to see if I can make my way to Inglewood.
Good man. Have a great week, Cam. Thanks very much for your time once again.
Thank you, Chief. See you later.
All right, bye. Sir. Thank you. Bye-bye. He's a wonderful man. He really is. Always so generous with his time. Cam Bagrie. Oh, by the way, I want a big shout out to my mate Darren Mills, who loves watching the show each week, and Travis Field. Thanks, boys, for tuning in each week. Really appreciate it. Now, you'll see a little thing on there with Mike King on there. So I'm turning 50 next week. I know it's hard to believe. I look like my youngest son, Jackson, said to me today as we were walking for Banjo, he said, cannot believe you're 50, Dad. You look like you're in your 20s. And I said, I know, son. I know. Many people say that to me. They say, are you sure you're not in your 20s? But Jaxie, I can assure you, I'm about to turn 50. So I had these grandiose plans of a 50th birthday party and I wanted to have the slacks come and play, and then COVID came along. But anyone that really knows me knew that the 50th was probably never going to happen. I never had a 40th, never had a 21st, never had an 18th. I'm just not. I do like to go and celebrate other people's things. It's not something I really want to do. My mother and I had a conversation about it today. There's some in our family that love doing that kind of thing, and my mother and I were just that's a little bit uncomfortable. Don't really want to do it. So if you are a mate though, and you've thought, oh, I would have, could have bought him a Fanta, I'd really love you to do this instead, if you've got time and if you remember. Not that my 50th will be on your mind by any stretch, but if you go, oh yeah, Shawnee's not a bad bloke, but I don't mind buying him a Fanta. Instead, why don't you stick that Fanta money into Mike King's account, BNZ 020428 0086124000. You can go back and look for that account number later on, and then it'll go to I Am Hope, because him and Joe, great people, very down to earth. What they do for this country is just unbelievable. Seriously, the sacrifice they make, if you actually just, if you knew half of it, people, he'd be New Zealander of the Year every year. Well, committed his life to this, to helping people. Just unbelievable. So if you could do that, I would be really grateful. If you could just, $5, $10. I know it's pretty tight at the moment, but if you're that way inclined and you feel like, oh yeah, I can probably stump up $5, probably got $5 worth of value over the last few weeks listening to Sean and Cam, then I'd be really grateful. The bank account number's there. Anyway, have a great week. Have a great week. Let's see if there's any questions. I don't think there will be. No, I don't think there is. Man, I'm trying to think who looked messier tonight, me or Cam. Cam hadn't had a shave. I didn't have a shave. We're wanting to sponsor this thing at some point. Maybe we need to up our game and, I don't know, tidy up our appearances and make it a little bit more professional. No, stuff it. I won't do that at all. Have a great week, guys. Love you heaps. Be good. Don't take life too seriously. It's all going to be fine. See you later. Have a great week. Bye-bye.